In this video, we're going to look at colors and fonts. You do this by clicking on Design, Colors and Fonts. And the one thing as we get started here, don't be afraid to just play. And what I mean by this, if I go to Color Palette, I'm going to copy the color I have right here. And if I wanted to change this, you'll see here I have this kind of blue, and the background is ever so slightly tinted here. If I came over and said, hey, let's make this green, you'll see the button has changed and the background has changed. If I make this maybe a little darker, you'll see the button has changed. Here's another button down here. And I always like to pick obvious colors during these demos just to show you. Here I picked kind of a pink or a kind of a purple, made the color that, made the background change. So whatever your primary color is, you can do that. I'm going to go ahead and paste my original one back. And this goes the same for dark color, extra color. If I scroll down here and I change the extra color to bright pink, you'll see where, well, that's the text color. So you can just play with these and go, ooh, I like that, or oof, I don't. If you're trying to make a dark theme, we've got you covered. There's one button. Click on dark mode. It looks like this. And I go, not bad. All right. Now down here under advanced settings, you'll see here where I've got my player links, right? I've got my Apple, Spotify, etc. And those kind of pop out on a dark, well, if I turn this on to grayscale, now they're grayscale. And page background color, if you're like, wait, what does that mean? I'll just choose an obvious color. Oh boy, there we go. So I'm like, okay, never mind. Now, if we come down to fonts and text, here you have a list of Google fonts. And if you want to see these in a little bigger kind of arena, go up to fonts.google.com. That's fonts.google.com. And you can see those. And so you could either click here, because this is not all of them, obviously. If you click on this link here, it's a fair amount, but it's not really all of them. So if you see a font over here, you could just search for this font and just type it in. So if I type in Anton SC and press tab, you'll see where that changed the text on my headings. So it's fonts.google.com. If I go, not really a fan of that, I could go back. Let's use Anton. Anton's always obvious. There we go. So that's your fonts. Now, if I go to advanced settings, here again, you have the color, the body text color, the size, the boldness, all the settings for the fonts are here. You'll see here, up here, I could write anything here. If I choose uppercase, now it's in uppercase. So you can adjust this really to however you want. If you have your own font, you'll see here, if you put your mouse over the little bubble, you can upload a WOFF font and you can use it in Podpage. So that's all about the fonts here and the colors. If we go down a little further, if you're using a grid look on your home page, then this buttons option will work. You can change a little bit. Up right now we have this follow button, and I could come up here and adjust the button color. So if I say, let's again just make it obvious, there it is. Now, if you have in the navigation bar specified a color, then changing it here won't change anything. You'll see here the button down here is as well. It might change it here on this button, but if in the navigation bar you've said, I want this follow button to be yellow, then changing it here won't change the navigation bar. These are all just kind of going along with the theme. Then at the bottom, here I'm using a list, but if you were using a grid view, then you have these options to play with about the image and things of this nature. Now, if I come in and say I only want text, if I was on a grid view, that would take off that particular, the pictures. But here under advanced, you'll see here I'm using a list view, not a grid view. So consequently, if I do that here, and so that is going to depend, again, just to review this, if I click on save, I'll save my changes. But if you're wondering why that last bit with the cards, that goes back to our pages, home, and then edit the page, and then under the home page feed, the grid layout. So here, if you're on a grid or a list, that will be how those card changes, they will either affect the look or they won't based on what you have here. But we were playing with colors and fonts, and that was under design, colors and fonts, and these are the options here. And when you're done, don't forget to click save.